mischaracterized. And on the other side of that has been somebody who has tried to silence him. And that's been my problem. And most of the time, he has had corrupt attorney after corrupt attorney telling him, stay silent about Aaliyah. Another telling him, stay silent about Azrael and Joycelyn Savage, and tell the story this way. And he can't win, because then he has on the other side people wanting to hurt him, and he has had to choose between who he can trust most. And unfortunately, on both sides of the coin, he's found people that he couldn't trust. And I've been trying to explain that on the blog, but people don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear what isn't in their heads already, what they don't already believe about Robert or about R. Kelly. And that's the problem. But I'm going to make, I said this from the beginning, like, if you don't want to hear the truth, I'm not going to care that you don't want to hear it. I'm going to force feed you this truth. One way or another, you're going to hear Robert's story, and one way or another, you're going to accept the reality of who he is and the man he's been, and the man he's been all along. All through his career, he's been the same man, the same intentions, never wanted to hurt a soul, but he's been around people that have not had the same conscience or the same intention as him. Demonic, evil, and empty, soulless people. Damaged people. And I'm not saying that they're beyond God's help. Only God can help these people, but only God. We are not God to try and save these souls. These are bottomless pits for me. I think these people cannot change. They will not change, not for God and not for anybody. And this is why sometimes, this is why we need prison systems. I really don't know if I'm going to post all of this. So if you get to hear this, just congratulate me for actually posting it all, because it's just a lot. And I've really gone on a lot of topics. I haven't scripted any of this. This is coming straight from the heart. I just want people to know. I've had to keep cutting out because something happens, and then I've got to cut it out because I don't want you having to be distracted by that. But I'm just going to say this very clearly. I built this platform many years ago, not for me. I wanted to give Robert a platform that he's never had before. He's had his music as his platform for many years, but he's made music, I believe, for other people more than for himself. He enjoys it, he loves it, he tells stories that speak to people, but I don't really believe he's made music for himself, and in that he hasn't told his story. When he released that song, I Admit, I have to tell you, I'm going to put this out there, and Robert's going to hear it very clearly when he's home. I never would approve of him releasing that song, I Admit. Never in my life. And this is why I have a huge problem with the people that have helped or been around him and circled his career, because I don't believe that they have had his reputation, his freedom, his image at the forefront of what they do. I think that they've had this R. Kelly persona that they've kept wanting to push at his detriment, and he's the one that's cost Robert. They've wanted to push this oversexed image of Robert, this mischaracterization of his whole soul, making him into this caricature of a sex-crazed celebrity who has no control, who's reckless. And that's why they were able to bring these charges on him, because they were able to just, mischaracterize him and take things out of context that he said or did, because there'd been a pattern of people doing this. So releasing that song, I Admit, Robert wasn't speaking from the heart. He was speaking in that bravado, that street bravado of, look, I did all this, so what? And I don't like that, because that's the problem with what has hurt him, you know. And that's just part of what I'm trying to say. What I love about Robert is he's going to hear this and he's going to be able to accept it, but some of you might not be able to accept this truth, because Robert just, like, I tell Robert the truth, like when he is like going to hurt himself, I'm the first person to say stop, do not do it, and I will put my foot down. You have no idea how strong I can get with him, and he's a strong man, but let me tell you what, I'm no like soft cookie. I might speak soft and sweet, but like people that get to know me, if you're my friend, you're my friend and I take care of you. You're my family member who cares for me, I take care of you. But if you're my enemy, then you're going to see the fires of hell, because I'm not the kind of woman who doesn't protect what's mine, my family, my image, what's, you know, what I love and who I love, you know. And so with that song, I admit I would never have let Robert release that, never in my life, because it was so bravado and it was so taken out of context, because it was a mischaracterization of his intentions. Because even when he was talking to Gayle King and when he did the interviews, you know, he talked about how the parents, you know, were trying to sell off these two women. People take that out of context. He shouldn't have put it that way. He was trying to say, you've got to understand, Robert just speaks as it is, and he expects people just to get it. He expects people to understand and accept his character as he is, and as somebody who's good, to see his goodness. But he doesn't know that this world sometimes is filled with people, and he does know, but he just, like, we all want the best, we all hope for the best, we all hope and hope that people see us. And every time, even when people fail to see us and fail to acknowledge who we are, we still don't give up that hope, you know. And we still like want people to, you know, to want the, you know, see the best in us. And Robert's no different. So when he has spoken, when he's been, you know, had the platforms he's had, unfortunately he's been mischaracterized, because sometimes he hasn't expressed himself in a way that where people can hear him, and you know, where people can understand what really happened. And sometimes he's kept silent on things because he thought that is the way to protect the people he cared about, whether it be Aaliyah or whether it be the women that he had liaisons with. You know, he's so honorable that way. He thinks about them more than they ever could think about him, ever. I couldn't say that Aaliyah herself wouldn't have been manipulated to stand with these crooks, because it's been such a manipulation of people that has happened in the last 7 years with these movements of Me Too and Time's Up. They've used women and they've used men. They've used weak men to campaign for, you know, the abuse of the law, the abuse of men, the abuse of innocent men. And they may not be innocent in their lives. I mean, nobody is innocent when you look at anybody's life. We all are sinners according to God. All of us are equal on that platform. Nobody can stand before God and say they've never done anything wrong. That's the great thing about humanity. Not one person, saint or otherwise, can stand before God and say that they've never sinned. But what we can do is have like this humanity, this understanding that that person, even though I don't like their life, they have a right to not be in jail if they've not done a crime. If they've been a sleazeball somewhere with women, that's not a crime. I'm not talking about physical touch here. I'm talking about a man who, you know, like, we've all been in clubs as women. We've been out as women, and we've had men try and come on to us that we're not interested in, and that some of them are too strong and some of them are too, like, they're drunk, they're out of control. That's not a crime. That's just a bad character or bad behavior. It's not even bad character, because they could just be having a huge moment, and, you know, or they could just have been raised poorly about, you know, how to treat women.